Yo, what's going on, y'all? It's Cone, and the Phoenix Suns might be really good. They are playing some great basketball over the course of this early part of the season to the point where it looks like they could be a legitimate playoff team, and I was wrong about them. I thought this was just going to be a bad team. They trade away Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, and I did like, the overall concept of the squad, but it felt like they were young, they were lacking in star power. If they were going to turn to something more, it was going to take a few years. No, this is a team that hasn't had Jalen Green basically the entire season, and they still managed to put together one of the best records in the Western Conference and just got a statement win over the Lakers, winning 125-108. They not only clamped the Lakers on the defensive end, they were frying them on the offensive end. It was Dillon Brooks, Royce O'Neale, Collin Gillespie, Devin Booker, who only played 9 minutes and 55 seconds in this one, left with a groin injury, and at that point the game was kind of close. Devin Booker, even without him, the Suns just extended this lead greatly. Jordan Goodwin, Ryan Dunn, Oso Iguodala, Mark Williams. It's a deep, very talented team that just plays their butts off on both ends of the court. I've fallen in love with watching the Suns team play basketball. They gave my Oklahoma City Thunder one of the biggest tests of the entire season a few days ago, where in the clutch, Collin Gillespie just wouldn't miss. I put out a tweet, which I'm starting to really believe, he's just Steph Curry, Ray Allen, Klay Thompson all rolled up into one guy, and Dillon Brooks can't seem to miss a turnaround jumper at all this season, and of course he's giving them that defensive tenacity, but really the offense is the story. I did not expect a year whatever Dillon Brooks offensive leap, but here we are. Tonight against the Lakers, he had 33 points, 15 of 26 shooting. The three ball's not really been falling, 2 of 7, but that midi is pretty automatic. He's getting downhill, finishing through contact. It's been the best offensive season of Dillon Brooks' career. He's averaging over 20 points per game. I did not expect that. If you told me that Dillon Brooks was going to be the second leading scorer, the second option on this Suns team, I would have said, yeah, they're not very good. But no, Dillon Brooks has just been a pretty solid scorer and a great defensive piece. I'll never forget how the Grizzlies kind of just tried to throw him away, and then he went to Houston, became an even better version of himself, and now he's taking another step forward. You've got Devin Booker, who, again, like I said, left with a groin injury. Hopefully everything's good. They're going to need him to keep the momentum up, but Book has just been his usual ridiculously good self. 26 points a night, 5 boards, 7 assists, defending pretty well. The three ball really just has not been there for Devin Booker this season either, in addition to Dillon Brooks. But I mean, outside of that, Devin Booker's done everything. He's playmaked, he's scored, he's been the leader that this team needs, he's defending, and it trickles down to the rest of the squad. This is a team that really feels like they're playing with a chip on their shoulder, because it is kind of a lot of discarded guys, like Royce O'Neale, for example. He was traded away from Brooklyn, and now he's here with the remnants of this Kevin Durant Phoenix Suns era, and he said, all right, bet, people think that we're going to suck. I'm just going to be one of the best three-point shooters in the league, which he has continued to be for a couple years now, but he's doing it even more so this season so far. Him and Collin Gillespie are 7th and 8th in three-pointers made this season, and Collin Gillespie, was in the G League. A few different teams are like, we don't really want you, and now the Suns are giving him an opportunity, all the opportunity in the world, and he's thriving. Tonight he had 28, 4, 5 with 2 steals on 8 of 14 shooting from 3. This man does not miss three-point shots. It doesn't happen, and he's hounding on defense as well. I saw a report that for years the Suns have wanted to get their TJ McConnell. Collin Gillespie feels like that, but he's actually a three-point sniper, and having a guy like him, as well as Royce O'Neale, as well as Grayson Allen, who just came back from injury but so far has been putting up 18 points per game on 44% from 3. We're talking about snipers. There's a reason this is the 6th best three-point shooting team in the NBA, next to Dillon Brooks and Devin Booker, who again aren't really hitting their threes this season, allows the offense to really elevate and remain above average. They're 13th in offense in addition to 13th defensively, so they're above average on both ends, and a big part of that is Mark Williams, who in Charlotte was never really the best defensive big, but we talk about guys with a chip on their shoulder. The Hornets tried to trade him away to the Lakers, who then said, actually, never mind, we don't want him. So two teams said in the same transaction, we would prefer someone else over you. So now he goes over here to Phoenix, and it's like, all right, bet, I'm going to be a shot blocker, I'm going to be a rim runner, a play finisher, I'm going to hustle down to both ends, grab offensive rebounds. Mark Williams is doing everything. The numbers don't say this is the best year of his career, but this has been by far the most impactful season that we've ever seen from Mark Williams. And I've always been a big fan of his. I'm just happy at the moment, fingers crossed, knock on wood, that he's staying on the court. Hopefully that continues to be the case because he's so good with this team. Ryan Dunn playing really good defense as well. You've got Jordan Goodwin, who also has been thrown away by a few different teams. The Lakers included didn't want Jordan Goodwin, and now here he is with the Suns, knocking down threes, playing great defense. Jamari Bouye was out there hounding Luka Doncic, and he's a guy who's bounced around a couple of different spots. A two-way contract right now with the Suns, and he said, all right, bet, I'm going to earn my spot in the league. Had 7 points, 5 assists, 3 steals, and again, was hounding Luka, shot 100% from the floor. Nigel Hayes-Davis comes back into the NBA, and he's been a piece. Oso Ighodaro has become a really solid backup big. Just everybody on this team feels like they've got something to prove. They play with a chip on their shoulder. This team plays their butts off. They play really hard, and it's such a stark contrast from the Suns teams of the last few years where it's like, do they even care? Like, is this a squad that cares about winning basketball games? Sure, they've got talent, but they're not really playing hard. They're not out there diving for loose balls, being gritty. They're kind of just rolling over and dying when the going gets tough. And at this point, they're sitting at 13-9 in the playoff picture in the Western Conference. And they started the season 1-4, so they're 12-5 over their last 17 games. And it's super fun to watch. It's infectious. And again, they haven't had Jalen Green, who in the one full game that he got to play with this team was awesome. 29 points, 3 boards, 3 assists, 2 steals, shooting 50% and 6 of 13 from 3. He was really, really good. I can't wait to see Jalen Green with this squad. He should be back at some point here soon, I believe within the next 2 to 3 weeks. So that's going to be another big addition. Hopefully Devin Booker's injury is nothing serious because, again, they need him to continue this momentum. Although Dillon Brooks is apparently just capable of being a one option. Collin Gillespie is the greatest shooter to ever grace this planet. It's crazy how fun this team has been. You wouldn't expect it when you compare the rosters of the past couple of years, but sometimes addition by subtraction really is a thing in the NBA, especially when it comes to the enjoyment of this team. And I also think Jordan Ott, who came in from the Cleveland Cavaliers and was part of that coaching staff with Kenny Atkinson, where they kind of reinvented Cleveland and figured out, okay, this is what we need to do, and they had their best season ever in terms of regular season wins. And now he's over here in Phoenix, and he's got these guys playing really hard. He's getting results beyond what the talent level is, because if you just take a look at the roster on paper, and again, consider no Jalen Green so far, you wouldn't think this would be a team that would be in the mix of the playoff race in the Western Conference. But I think Jordan Ott, already I'm ready to say that he's a really, really, really good coach, in that Phoenix, after this coaching carousel for the last few years, bring someone in, fire him, bring someone in, fire him, has found a guy who is not only going to stick for now, but is going to stick for a very long time. I feel very confident with the stuff that I've seen so far from this team. There is an energy, there is a fire. I think Jordan Ott is a big part of that. I also think Dillon Brooks as this leader, this high intensity guy, Devin Booker staying loyal to the franchise, saying, I want to be here, I want to play with these guys. I think that goes a long way too. All these guys that have chips on their shoulders. The Phoenix Suns are awesome. This is one of my favorite teams so far this season, and I didn't think I was going to be saying that. But it's been a lot of fun to watch the Phoenix Suns up until this point. Again, like, they were legitimately scary to watch going up against the Thunder. I'm like, do these guys ever miss in the clutch? Are they going to give us some breathing room? Because the Thunder, Shea would go out there, hit the most absurd shot ever, and then it's a Collin Gillespie three, or Dillon Brooks turnaround jumper, or someone grabbing an offensive rebound. It was just everything that they could do to execute. They ended up falling just short. But still, you're talking about the 20-1 Thunder and a Suns team that people really didn't expect to be anywhere close to this good. It's been wildly impressive what they've done so far. So shout out to Phoenix. I was wrong about them. I think there is still a world where they don't make the playoffs. We'll have to see what this Devin Booker injury looks like, and it's just so tough in the West. They're 7th right now, 1.5 ahead of the Warriors, 2.5 or 3.5 rather ahead of the Memphis Grizzlies. We'll see what that kind of continues to look like, but the way they're playing at the moment, if they make the playoffs, I'm not shocked at all, and I think that'd be awesome to see. And then maybe next year, or at some point here soon, they try to add a piece or two, because I do still think they're clearly a piece or two away from being an upper echelon team in the Western Conference. But at least for the moment, they are good, they are competent, they are fun, and they are proving the world wrong, me included, which I'm very happy to see. Yeah, Phoenix has been awesome. Let me know down below in the comments what you think they could do the rest of this season. What is their ceiling? What is the outcome that we're going to witness from them? And where should they go from here? So yeah, let's talk about, I guess, on the Lakers side of things, the defense is just starting to come back down to earth. Like, they've still been winning games. I mean, they were on, what, I think a 7-game win streak before this loss. So it's nothing, too disastrous. But the point totals for opposing teams are starting to climb up there. 126 against the Jazz, 106 against the Jazz, 118 against the Clippers, 119 against the Mavericks, 121 against New Orleans, and 125 against the Phoenix Suns. Only one team below 110 in the last 6 games. It's a little bit worrying if you're a Lakers fan, because that's always been the concern is, yeah, the offense is going to be ridiculous, but defensively, are they going to hold up? And although, the turnovers, especially from Luka and Reaves, 14 of them combined, which is a lot of turnovers. That's more, I think, more than the entire Phoenix Suns roster had. That's also a part of this game, and that's part of the pressure, the intensity that the Suns bring. They're just playing harder than the Lakers a lot of times, and that is a little bit of a concern. Let's move on now to the rest of the NBA. We're going to try and get through this a bit quicker than I've been doing them recently. Let's start off, I guess we'll do our daily Clippers check-in. They lost again, 140 to 123. 5-16. They were down by like 30 in this game. Beginning of the third quarter, Tyronn Lue just benches all the starters and says, nah, we're just going to play with the bench guys. Harden, hardly played at all in the second half. Did he even play in the second half? Yeah, he played a minute and 26 seconds and then never came back in. Kawhi, tried to go crazy. He scored 25 in the second half. They brought this back within 14 points after going down again by 30, but it was just too little too late. Miami's offense was humming. They were looking more like themselves. They're still trying to readjust a little bit, it feels, after Tyler Hero came back, but this was the best that it's looked. And against this defense, it's not surprising because the Clippers can't guard anybody. They're 5-16, and if by the time you're seeing this video on the morning of December 2nd, I think every time now the Clippers lose, there is a real chance that the next day we're going to wake up and Tyronn Lue is fired. Whether he deserves it or not is up to y'all's perspective, but I think it's just the way it's going to go. I think they've got to find a scapegoat. Something has to change. I think Tyronn Lue is, it's always the coach in the NBA. The Pistons beat the Hawks 99-98. This was an amazing back and forth game. Cade Cunningham, taking over and leading them to victory in the end. 8 rebounds, 8 assists, 6 steals and 3 blocks, 9 stocks for your point guard is crazy. 21-11 from Jalen Duran. You got 14 from Karis LeVert, 17 from Ron Holland. It was a really solid game from him. And it was basically, kind of the Pistons' whole team versus Jalen Johnson and Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Nickeil has been playing out of his mind. Had 26 with 6 threes, 29, 13, and 7 from Jalen Johnson, who was a lock to be an all-star at this point. We're talking about teams I've loved this season. The Hawks are definitely one of them as well. I've loved watching Jalen Johnson, as a big believer in him, and I loved the Nickeil pickup. He was my 6th man of the year pick, and instead he's starting and he's, in MIP conversations. It's been really fun to watch from Atlanta, even though they came up just short. The Cavaliers annihilate the Pacers 135-119. Donovan Mitchell had 43 points, continuing to try and establish himself as an all-NBA first-team guy. 27-11 from Jalen Tyson. It's nice to see them get a convincing win after, kind of some of the games that they've had recently. 26 from Siakam, 21 from Nembhard on the other side. The Bucks lose to the Wizards 129-126. We want to talk about offenses or defenses rather slipping. Milwaukee's defense is just bad. It's just bad. It's kind of what I thought we were going to see this season. Giannis at 26, 7 and 4, 30 from Kevin Porter Jr., who left this game and didn't return with injury, 14 from Ryan Rollins, 14 from Gary Trent. They put up points, but they couldn't stop anything. I mean, we're talking about 28 from CJ McCollum and 22 from Marvin Bagley and 15 from Chris Middleton, 17 from Cam Whitmore, 16 from Tristan Vucevic, 10 from Justin Champagny. Everybody, if you were in a Wizards uniform, you were scoring big points. And CJ McCollum hitting a sidestep 3 towards the end, and Chris Middleton hitting a big shot to put the dagger in the Bucks. Bilal Coulibaly getting a big steal. I think it was on Giannis, or just on the inbound pass to Giannis to go ahead and seal this one. The Wizards are, racking up some wins. They're looking a little bit more competent like I expected this season, and the Bucks starting to get a little worried about them. They lost a majority of these games recently without Giannis in the lineup, but if you're losing to the Wizards with Giannis out there, it's not a good look. We saw the Magic beat the Chicago Bulls 125-120, also a really good game. We're seeing Desmond Bane find his footing after a slow start to the season. 37 points, 6 boards, 5 assists. He's had multiple big games as of recently. 25 as well from Franz Wagner, 22 from Anthony Black, who's starting to look more and more like he's on some type of star trajectory. I've loved what I've seen from Anthony Black. Huge defensive plays from Jalen Suggs down the stretch. It got a little bit chippy there at the end as well, which, it's fun. It's what you like to see. On the Bulls end, again, it's just the defense is slipping from them. They were playing a little bit better. Offensively, there was more clunkiness. They really missed Kobe White in this one. They need that shot creator. It's, again, just, I keep saying it's kind of the Bulls just coming back down towards earth a little bit, kind of like what we expected prior to the season. The Mavericks beat the Denver Nuggets 131-121. We want to talk again about defense. defenses. We're talking about a lot of these defenses struggling now. Denver's defense has been a problem, and part of that is no Aaron Gordon, no Christian Brown, but even still, giving up this much to this bottom feeder Mavericks offense is bad. 80 at 32, 13 and 4, probably his best game of the season. 28 with 10 assists from Andrew Nembhard, who is the first guard in NBA history, by the way, to have 25 points, 10 plus assists, and 100% or better true shooting percentage. The only guy ever with 0 turnovers as well. That's insane. So shout out to Ryan Nembhard for that insane stat. Cooper Flagg 24, 8, 2, 2 and 1. He definitely has earned a video at this point at some point soon. The Nets beat the Charlotte Hornets 116 to 103. Brooklyn getting a couple of wins here, and Charlotte after just beating the Raptors, and it's like, hey, that's a good win. It's one of the worst losses of their season. Michael Porter Jr. 35. His trade value is up. 18 from Noah Clowney, and then everybody else kind of a mix. Danny Wolf has been looking pretty good as of late, and on the Hornets end, it was like a decent game from Colin Knipple, who had 4 threes, 18 points. You got 12 with 14 dimes from LaMelo Ball, but he's just not been great so far this season. I don't know. The Hornets just are in such a weird spot right now. The Jazz beat the Rockets. We had a lot of crazy upsets tonight. Utah knocks off Houston 133 to 125. The ascendance of Keontae George continues, and this was a big bounce back because they just played the Rockets, and Keontae had like 0 points, 8 turnovers. He was horrific. It was easily his worst game of the season, and in this one, gets better, learns, finds a groove. 28 with 8 assists, 18 to 14 shooting. Ace Bailey had 13 with 3 blocks, 2 steals. That's what you love to see. 29 from Lauri Markkanen, 18 and 9 from Yusuf Nurkic, 10 with 6 boards and 5 assists from Sfima Hailuk, 12 from Kyle Filipowski, 11 from Kevin Love. The Jazz are kind of competitive. Like, they've also been a fun team to watch so far this season. Not a lot of teams that haven't been fun. There are definitely a few, but not a lot of them. But I've enjoyed watching the Jazz, and it sounds like from reports we're getting, they're looking to maybe be buyers at the deadline, so it could get a little bit more fun over there. For Houston, big games from Kevin Durant and Alperen Sengun, 32, 9 and 5 from KD, 31, 8, 14, 2 and 5 from Alperen Sengun. There are a lot of big numbers there. No Steven Adams in this game. They really missed his offensive rebounding. I mean, they still got 16 offensive rebounds, so maybe that's not the case, but it at least felt like it when I was watching the game. You did also get 23 from Amen Thompson. They were just weak defensively. This was definitely one of the poor defensive efforts we've seen, but also the Jazz, they've shown this season they're capable of just these offensive explosions, and that also felt like it was kind of one of these games. But yeah, that's everything in the NBA. Leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on future videos. Let me know down below in the comments, what do you think so far of the Phoenix Suns? Where can they go this season? What do you think is a realistic outcome for the end of the year? What is a successful season for Phoenix? As well as just how you're feeling about your favorite team across the NBA. What videos do I need to make? What topics do I need to cover? I want to hear y'all's opinions. But yeah, again, appreciate you watching. I'll see y'all later. Everyone, stay back.